Ladies and gentlemen, the Global Week of Action Against Gun Violence is now in its 19th year and has perhaps never been more pertinent than it is now. Gun violence is informing and perpetuating much of the upheaval in the world, even as we continue to grapple with the effects of the continuing COVID-19 pandemic. The war in Ukraine is the latest example of how guns, along with heavy weapons, take human lives. But we must not forget that the social and economic impacts of gun violence in other conflicts and settings around the world are continuing, even if they are not front-page news. The harshest impact of gun violence is always felt by vulnerable groups and in developing countries, particularly those experiencing or emerging from armed conflict or facing pervasive criminal violence. This has not changed. If things have gotten worse, then the question for us all is, how do we make it better? Or perhaps more modestly, how do we begin to make it better? In my view, the theme of this year's Week of Action is passionate. We need to emphasize partnerships. For my part, I am a firm supporter of the need to take a more holistic, whole-of-society approach to arms control. I believe that reducing gun violence requires bottom-up as well as top-down approaches to support both community capacities as well as the effectiveness and resilience of the state. We should bear in mind that it is at the local level where gun violence is experienced directly and where pressure for response is greatest. Accordingly, this is where some of the most active and promising initiatives and partnerships have been developed. Municipal and local governments, for instance, have played a critical role by creating an enabling environment and directing resources to maintain their success. However, national and regional level policies and plans are equally critical to success in reducing gun violence, particularly when based on a clear understanding of the risk factors and effects. A holistic action agenda can and should be generated at the national level by bringing together a variety of stakeholders around a common vision of the context-specific dimensions of gun violence. And for our part, we in the Office for Disarmament Affairs are attempting to work by our own advice. In partnership with the United Nations Development Programme, we have established a Saving Lives Entity, or Salient, a trust facility that allocates grants to catalyze a more comprehensive approach to small arms and armed violence reduction in priority countries, in particular through supporting national initiatives to operationalize and mainstream small arms control in development efforts and policies. We have also sought to capture norms around small arms control through modules that provide common guidance for our partners across the whole UN system. The Modular Small Arms Control Implementation Compendium, or MOSAIC. Indeed, ownership of the modules lies with the Coordinating Action on Small Arms, or CASA, which serves as the UN system-wide partnership mechanism on small arms. A partnership-based approach to tackling the challenge of gun violence is not easy. We often find ourselves working in silos for that very reason. But the problem of gun violence is complicated and multidimensional. Solution will need to be as well. That is why the partnership is needed. As we move forward, our chance of success will be improved through partnerships and through a shared understanding that improved small arms regulation and control measures are not simply a remedy to a short-term, isolated public security issue. They are a part and parcel of a sustained focus on the country and region's long-term social and economic development. And that is always a worthwhile investment. I thank you.